Parler chief executive, John Matz, joins me now. First, I'm going to divide this up. What do you make of the Biden-Harris team pressuring Zuckerberg to censor COVID information? Deal with that one first, please.
Sure, of course. I mean, this is not surprising at all. If you look back in 2020, when I was running Parler, we were confronted with similar force and warnings from the FBI to also censor the Hunter Biden laptop scandal. And we chose not to. It was obvious that that was inappropriate. And we stood up for that. And now that the Biden administration is doing that, or has been doing that to Facebook, it's not surprising at all. What's kind of surprising to me, is that a tech executive isn't taking a principled stance against the government interfering with how it should run its company.
But it really made a difference, I think, to the election. They changed the story of the Hunter Biden laptop just, weeks or a month or two before the election. Had they released that information about that laptop, it would have had a huge effect on the election, but they chose to suppress it. He says he's going to be politically neutral in the future, Zuckerberg. What do you make of that?
I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right? I think his actions show that he's not principled on this issue. But the good news here is that he is responding to market pressure. People don't want to be spied on. They don't want to be censored. And they don't want their data sold. And so he is responding to market pressure, and that is positive.
Isn't it all about content moderation and how you do it?
Not only that, yes, and that pressure is pretty scary, because if you take a look at what's happening in France right now, Pavel Durov has been arrested. He's the Telegram CEO. And the government there is putting immense pressure on him to censor, to hand over information about people to the French government. And by refusing to do so, they have thrown him in jail. And they're essentially holding him personally liable for all criminal activity on the platform. And they've handpicked some of the worst things to throw in their lawsuit against him. And they're basically making him an accomplice to criminal activity if he doesn't cooperate with the government censors.
But where does
it's crazy.
Right, but where does this leave X and Elon Musk and other platforms? Are they vulnerable too?
If I were Mark Zuckerberg and if I were Elon Musk, I would be petrified to go to France right now, because they are equally as responsible for the content under that apparent law as Pavel Durov is. It's selective prosecution is what this is. It's terrible, and it sets a terrible precedent for the world in the tech space. Biggest issue, I think, in the tech space right now.
But what do you say about free speech? I mean, this goes to the heart of it, doesn't it? Do we have or do we not have free speech?
Exactly. And right now we need that more than ever. And Telegram is a platform with 1 out of 8 people in the world on it, almost 1 billion people. And that's a lot of speech that they're trying to kind of put the kibosh on here.
It sure
and
is.
So, and especially in a platform that's so critical in the war in Ukraine right now and the war that's going on in the Middle East, this is a place where people can broadcast really time-sensitive information and get it out to a large audience very quickly in an important, timely manner. And so this is pretty scary to see this come down right now.
You got it. John Matz, thanks for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you again later. Thank you.